Hey guys, it's Bridget with San Diego Seed Company, and I am in front of some beautiful looking artichoke. And if you're in zone 9 and 10 and you haven't grown artichoke, you're really missing out. It's one of the easiest plants to grow. It has so many great redeeming qualities, and not only that, it's delicious. Let me get into why you want to put artichoke in your garden and how easy it is to grow. So you can see here we've got several plants, and at first you just see, a couple of big artichokes, but if you really stop and look into here, look at these little baby ones that are coming, which is so exciting. So actually, if you look here, you can see there was one last year, and then we got two from this one after this one died back. Now, what's incredible about artichoke is if you live in zone 9 and 10, particularly in Southern California, San Diego County, you will actually see this plant growing wild on the side of freeways, in empty lots. It's actually part of the thistle family, and it is a really easy to grow plant that will perennialize, meaning it will become a perennial. It will grow for several seasons in your garden, and it will give you very easy to produce food year after year after year. It is great for permaculture gardens, edible gardens. You can interplace it with ornamental plants. It's really beautiful. The silver foliage is very big and can make quite a statement piece. If you let these guys actually go to flower, which this one is well on its way, it produces a beautiful purple, kind of iridescent looking flower. And now if you let it go to flower, you do waste the opportunity to eat it. So you kind of have to pick and choose what you want. And this is a great opportunity to explain when you want to harvest them. So this guy's huge, and you may be thinking, oh, that's the one I want to harvest because it's big, it's going to give me the biggest artichoke to eat. Well, really at this point, once these leaflets become pretty loose, it's going to start getting pretty fibrous. And that means you're gonna need even more butter to eat it. We love butter on our artichoke, and the bigger and the more fibrous they are, you're probably gonna use more of it. Now, if you go to these smaller ones, this is not quite ready, but the smaller they are, the more tender they are. So this one I might give a couple of weeks. This one is really almost too big. This one right here is perfect. Now, the reason why we want to harvest them when they're about this size is we can peel out these outer leaves and the inside is still going to be nice and tender. We can steam it, we can roast it, lots of different cooking applications you can use, but it's going to be the best tasting quality at about that size. Now, whenever we grow artichoke, we never eat them all because we can't ever get to them all, and they're really fun to let go to flower. Keep in mind, like every plant, the more artichokes that you let go to flower, the less productive it's going to be. So if you harvest hard and often and you're staying on top of it and you're really harvesting and harvesting and harvesting, it's going to keep sending out shoots and sending out new artichoke heads because the plant wants to flower and go to seed. That's the whole purpose of this plant's life. So much like deadheading with any flowering plant, the more you harvest, the more you'll get. So you can kind of pick and choose what route you want to go with your artichoke. You can just set it and forget it and let it be beautiful, or you can let it grow for consumption, for eating, and harvest heavily and regularly and have these delicious artichoke in your garden. All right, so let's get into the how and the when you want to plant these. For zone 9 and 10, if you're planting it by seed, you're actually going to plant it in the fall. Really, you can get away with like November or December. You want to get the plant up to a nice size to plant into the ground. That very first year, you might not actually get nice big artichoke heads because it's sending its roots and its energy down to grow a nice big plant. The second year is when you really will get a lot of production. And just as a general rule of thumb, the more years you have this plant growing, the more you'll get. This plant only gave a few, and now it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's more happening on the other side. There's almost 8 on here the second year, and the first year there was not nearly as many. So as the plant becomes more established, you'll get more. So starting it from seed in the fall in zone 9 and 10. If you're in other zones that get frost, you're going to want to start it at least 8 weeks before the last frost so that you can get it up and growing to a nice size and plant out. For zone 9 and 10, it will overwinter, and so you want to put it in a place where it's not to be disturbed. So we actually have this on the other side of the patio here where it can kind of just grow undisturbed. It's not in a part of the garden where we're doing a lot of regular, consistent cultivation. Obviously it gets big, it's gonna create a lot of shade underneath its leaves, and that's actually a great opportunity to do some inner planting if you wanted to do some companion flowers or other crops that might work well with it. But this would not be great next to something that's gonna take a lot of cultivation and need a lot of space. Again, you see this a lot in Southern California in ornamental gardens and permaculture gardens because it does so well, and it's really just a set it and forget it type of plant. You can see it gets big, it doesn't require a lot of extra love. A light fertilization with an organic fertilizer can be helpful, but isn't really necessary. And they're relatively drought tolerant. They are going to want irrigation to get established, but like I said, these will grow in empty lots wild in Southern California, so you know it doesn't require a lot of water. So let's actually harvest some. So if you are a cut flower grower or an aspiring flower farmer, artichoke is a really great flower to include both opened or unopened in your arrangements. You can see it creates a nice long stem, and look at this. If you're very creative, you can actually put this in a gorgeous arrangement, and this can be a centerpiece, really. Now, again, this is a little past its prime for eating. Totally possible to eat. It's going to be a little more fibrous than something like this size. You'll notice I cut the really long stem to show you how you could use it in arrangements. The other reason why I did that is if I cut it right up top here, that's fine, but I'm not gonna get another artichoke along the stem, so there's no reason why I should keep it. I could just cut the whole thing out. Also, how cool is this, like in your kitchen, you know? There's so many things you could do with it. Well, you could have like little, you know, fighting wars with the kids or whatever. You could use it as an arrangement. You can just leave it until you cook it. It's just a really cool way, where'd my other one go? To harvest it versus something like this. If you harvest it like this, it can sit on a bowl, on your counter. They really keep really well. They're just a really great food product that gives you something also beautiful that you can grow in the garden. Now, before I get into the recap, make sure you like and subscribe so that I can help you grow your garden in zone 9 and 10 and help you be the best gardener yet. Now, quick little recap here. If you're just tuning in, basically we're talking about artichoke and why it's so easy to grow in zone 9 and 10. It is a plant that will very easily perennialize. You can have it on irrigation to help get it established. Once established, it really requires very little water comparatively to other vegetable crops. And you get these beautiful bulbs that you can eat either. You can eat them, you know, steamed, roasted. You can also use them as a cut flower, and they work really well in permaculture landscapes. Can't say enough about how easy they are to grow. So if you have any space in your garden, try some artichokes and you won't be disappointed.